took on the Alexander Spartans. Now, before we get to that game, Josh Vermillion was in Chillicothe for Jackson's battle with Bishop Watterson. Josh, you made the short drive over to Waverly after the game, and he joins us live now. And after the luck that Jackson had, lack thereof luck, tonight they look to turn around after losing last year.
That's right, Justin. And Jackson actually came into this game 0-5 all-time in their second-round playoff games. But Coach Hall told us earlier this week that he was very confident his team would get the win tonight. But, you know, this game, it did not start out very quickly. Neither team scored in the first quarter. So we're going to jump right into the second quarter. And after a very long 8-minute drive from Jackson, Raymon Potter punches it in from 2 yards out, 7-0 Jackson. And that Jackson defense was absolutely dominant all night long. And here they're going to wrap up Steven Marcos for a 9-yard loss, giving Jackson the ball back, and Hunter Sexton, he's going to take it himself. He's going to break a couple of tackles, juke to the outside, and pick up 24 yards, but that drive would stall, giving Bishop Watterson the ball back with 2 minutes left to go in the half. And after Marcos, he fumbles the snap, but he escapes to the outside and picks up 8 yards on 3rd and 4 to keep the drive alive. But he's looking deep on the very next play, and but Blake McCoy, he is going to outleap the taller receiver and save that touchdown and the halftime lead for Jackson. So let's move right into the third quarter. Hunter Sexton on his very first pass of the night. The ball is going to be picked off, setting Bishop Watterson up in absolutely great field position. But that Jackson defense, like I said, was dominant. It steps up once again here. Marcos, he gets taken down once again on 4th down, giving Jackson the ball back and setting up yet another long drive for them. This one capped off by Colin Massey with a 3-yard touchdown, putting Jackson up 14-0. And Justin, nobody would score the rest of the game as Jackson goes on to win 14-0.
So it was a low-scoring defensive battle. Who stood out for Jackson tonight, Josh?
Well, one name, Raymon Potter. Not only was he getting bruising yards early on in the game, but he seemed to be in on every single play on the other side of the ball as well. As the middle linebacker, Potter's play influences the rest of the defense as well. He was reading Bishop Watterson's offense like a book and absolutely flying to the ball carriers. And once he got to the ball carriers, he was laying down some massive hits on them and making sure they did not get out of his arms.
So Bishop Watterson hasn't scored much all year long. How did Jackson shut them down tonight?
Well, the Ironmen, they run a very similar run-heavy offense to Bishop Watterson, so they're used to seeing all of those fakes and dealing with a running quarterback. The line was quick off the ball, the linebackers were making the right reads, and the defensive backs were blanketing the receivers on the outside when the Eagles did throw the ball. Plus, Bishop Watterson, they kind of hurt themselves with some constantly sacks and 3 turnovers throughout the game.
Well, I know those Jackson faithful really follow their team, but how did they affect this game tonight?
Well, honestly, this was like a home game for Jackson. Their fans absolutely packed the stadium, and their excitement carried over onto the field. The Ironmen simply played with more energy than the Eagles, and that's how they finally got into the regional finals. Like I said, they won this game 14-0, and it all came down to the rushing stats. In the first half, Bishop Watterson only amassed 1 yard on the ground, while Jackson piled up 132 yards rushing. But like you mentioned, I made the drive out to Waverly tonight, but there was another game going on here in Waverly between Zane Trace and Alexander, and Blaine